States, there are three major areas that take strikes from hurricanes. And those areas are New Orleans, Miami, Florida, and then the entire coastline of the state of North Carolina. And part of that is the way the North Carolina and the Outer Banks stick out over into the Atlantic Ocean. Every 5 to 7 years, Onslow County has a frequency of having a tropical storm coming within 50 nautical miles of its coastline. And in the past, we've had such storms as Hurricane Fran, Floyd, Bertha, Dennis, Irene, Ophelia have all come within our area. There's not a specific point in time that we could say 12, 24, 36, 48 hours out before a storm hits us, we have to have these items done. We will use Hurricane Fran as an example of that. Hurricane Fran, 36 hours before it struck the coast of North Carolina, was actually predicted to make landfall in Charleston, South Carolina. So these storms are very dynamic. They can actually change direction, they can change in intensity in a 24-hour period. It can go from one category to the next. So it is something that has to be constantly watched, and we can't put a specific time of when actions have to be directly done by. We don't just use one source for pushing out our information. We use multiple sources. We can use newspaper, television, radio. We're making a lot of moves into social media with Facebook and Twitter, pushing out information onto the county websites. We're always looking for new mediums in which we can push information out to the public, in what ways people receive that information. We have a citizens phone bank that we will stand up, and we will publish that information out during the time of a disaster or pre-event of a hurricane for the citizens to be able to call, and that will allow them to ask information such as what are the evacuation notices do we have, what are our routes of exit out of the county for evacuation.
This is kind of an example of a small kit. This would be more for transporting with me if I went somewhere. If I was going to stay at home, you want to plan for 3 or 4 days worth of everything. So everything we're going to talk about, you want at least 3 or 4 days with you. We have a little checklist that FEMA supplies that we have on hand here that anybody can come get. I usually talk to people about the different kinds of food they can store. The big thing is that it's shelf ready, meaning it doesn't need refrigeration or it doesn't need to be in the refrigerator, so that if you lose power after the storm, that this stuff isn't going to go bad. It's going to be good for years. So you can put them in the kit, you can cycle them in and out over the year. But canned foods are good, boxed foods are good as long as they don't require any kind of milk or anything to prepare them. These are our hiking meals. It's kind of like an MRE, so our military guys will understand that. But these are just, the food's all in there, all you do is add water. So you can add lukewarm water, or if you have a means to boil the water like a grill outside after the storm's over with when it's safe, you can actually put hot water in here and have a hot meal. Some of the water, there's multiple different ways you can do the water. A lot of people just put water in leftover milk jugs and store it, and that works just fine. This is also, you've got emergency drinking water. A lot of your hikers might know about the water purification tablets that you can utilize, or there's water purification systems you can get. Some of the other things you want to think about always having in your kit and in your home any general time of the year is going to be a weather alert radio, and you want to look for the NOAA weather symbol on that to make sure that it is NOAA approved and can receive the NOAA signals. These are good to have out in your home somewhere where they can be heard throughout the home. They're good for severe thunderstorms, tornado warnings, and of course hurricanes. If you want to have a first aid kit, you can either buy a pre-made first aid kit like this, or you can put together your own kit. This is going to be for just those little minor cuts and scrapes that occur both during the hurricane while you're in your house or in the cleanup period afterwards. One of the biggest things we do talk to people about having also is a home inventory kit. Your home inventory kit, you can buy some or work with your insurance company and get a little booklet like this. but you want to document everything you've got in your home. This is good for fires as well. You want to have copies of your insurance, your flood insurance policies, your windstorm and hail policies, and your general homeowners insurance policies. All of that needs to be in your kit, whether you store it on a digital format or whether you have paper copies. You want to have that so that if you do have damages to your house or you lose your house, you still have copies of all that information, and it has your home inventory on it. You know, for after the storm, we want people to have in their kit kind of the things that are going to get them through that 3 to 4 days. You're going to start cleaning up around your house. You know, have some protective gloves, have some dust masks. Have a small fire extinguisher. We talk to people about having flashlights. There's multiple different kinds. You can have some that require batteries. Just make sure you have batteries on hand. So this is a shaker flashlight. It doesn't actually take batteries. These are good with the kids because you just sit and shake it to power it up. You know, have some duct tape, some multi-purpose tools. We also recommend having a whistle just in case anything would happen. You get trapped, you get stuck. This is a very loud device that can help you call for help if you don't have a phone handy. Those are the major items. You know, we also talk to people about, you know, if you wear contacts, have an extra pair of contacts. If you wear glasses, keep an old pair when you buy a new pair. Put those in your kit so that if something happens to your glasses, you've got a pair, you know, because the doctor's offices might be a little while getting open. Prescriptions, you know, see if you can get an emergency prescription filled if you're getting close to the end of your prescription. Make sure you have files of what all your prescriptions are. We also recommend that people keep cash, whether you put it in your kit to have it on hand or whether you pull it out and have that cash in the preparatory phase right before the hurricane. Because after the storm, if we do have power losses in the county, there may not be ATMs available.
It's always important to have a kit put together for your pets as well as for your family. So we have put some things together here. Really important is to have a crate or a carrying case for your animal to travel in and be comfortable in, as well as having food. We definitely want you to have at least 3-day supply of food for your animal in the case that you can't get to a store or you're going to be away from home. It's always best to have a good store of food. We definitely want to have at least 3 days of water for your family and your pet. Distilled water. A lot of times during storms, the water is not usable, so we want to have clean water accessible for your pets. So we definitely want you to have your vet records with you. Any extra medication, it's always good to have on hand in case you're away, and then information about your vet in the case that anyone needs to contact the vet. This is very important. It's very important to have a collar with an identification tag. So if you are separated from your pet, we can get them back to you as soon as possible. It's a transition period for your pet as well as for your family, so we want to keep them surrounded by items that keep them comfortable. So a blanket, a toy, you know, any treats that they're used to, that will keep them more comfortable in the transition period. If you are leaving the area, whether you're going to a family home, to a friend's home, you want to bring your pet. We see, unfortunately, too many incidents where a family thinks they'll be back the next day, and if there is damage and you cannot get home, you don't want to be leaving your pet behind. So you want to have an evacuation plan that includes your pet. There are hotel chains which accept pets on a regular basis and then on an emergency basis as well that may open up for pets. So definitely call around and see if you don't have a family home or friend home to go to. There are those alternatives as well.